February 9th, 2004, a cold winter night settled quietly over the mountains of New Hampshire. Snow lined the edges of a narrow rural road known as Route 112. The air was still. The forest surrounding the highway stretched for miles in every direction, dense and silent beneath a winter sky. It was the kind of road where headlights were rare after dark. The kind of road where, if something happened, very few people would see it. But at approximately 7:27 p.m., the silence was shattered. A black Saturn sedan lost control as it rounded a sharp curve. The tires slipped on the icy pavement. The vehicle slid sideways, and then crashed. The car slammed into a snowbank along the roadside. The airbags deployed instantly. Steam rose from beneath the hood. Inside the vehicle was a 21-year-old college student named Maura Murray within minutes. Another vehicle approached the crash site. It was a school bus returning from its evening route. The driver, a local resident named Butch Atwood, noticed the damaged car and pulled over to check if the driver needed assistance. When he approached the vehicle, he saw a young woman standing beside it. She appeared shaken, but conscious. Atwood asked if she was injured. She said she was fine. He asked if she needed help. She told him she had already called roadside assistance. But something about the situation didn't feel right. Cell service in that area of New Hampshire was notoriously unreliable. And Atwood noticed something else. He didn't see a phone. Still, the young woman insisted she had already contacted help. Atwood offered to call the police for her anyway. She declined. Atwood didn't argue. He simply told her that if she changed her mind, his house was just down the road. Then he drove home and called police. He reported the crash and asked officers to check on the situation. Within minutes, authorities were dispatched. But when police arrived at the crash site shortly afterward, the scene had changed completely. The car was still there. The airbags were still deployed. The front end of the vehicle remained buried in the snowbank. But the driver was gone. There was no sign of Maura Murray anywhere. No footprints leading into the woods. No indication she had walked away down the road. No evidence of a struggle. It was as if she had simply vanished into the night. In the span of just a few minutes, a young woman had disappeared, and more than 20 years later, no one has been able to explain how. Maura Murray was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Friends described her as intelligent, disciplined, and driven. Athletics played a major role in her life. During high school, she competed in track and cross country, building a reputation as a determined competitor. Her academic performance was strong enough to earn her admission to West Point. But she later decided to transfer to UMass to pursue nursing. To those around her, Maura appeared to be building a promising future. But the days leading up to February 9th had been unusually complicated. Just 2 nights before her disappearance, Maura had been involved in another car accident. She was driving her father's vehicle after a small gathering. The crash occurred late at night. And although no one was injured, the situation added significant stress in the days before she left campus. Several unusual events occurred at work one evening. Maura reportedly became emotional during a phone call. A co-worker later described her as visibly upset. When asked what was wrong, Maura allegedly responded with a vague statement about troubling news. The following day, she sent emails to her professors and her employer explaining that she would be taking a week off due to a death in the family. There was just one problem. According to her relatives, no one in the family had died. On the morning of February 9th, Maura withdrew nearly all the money from her bank account, just under $300. Later that afternoon, she visited a liquor store. Surveillance footage captured her calmly selecting the items and paying at the register after leaving the store. She returned to her dormitory and began packing clothing, toiletries, personal belongings. She also printed directions to several locations in northern New Hampshire. Then she got into her car, and she began driving north. Exactly where she intended to go remains unclear. Some believe she may have been heading toward the White Mountains region by early evening. Her car was traveling along Route 112. Then, just before 7:30 p.m., the crash occurred. When police examined the abandoned vehicle, they found several personal items inside. Her purchased alcohol was present. Some bottles were open. Investigators began searching the surrounding area almost immediately. Tracking dogs were brought. To the scene, the dogs briefly picked up Maura's scent along a road. But then something strange happened. The trail suddenly stopped. One possible explanation was that Maura had entered another vehicle. If she accepted a ride, the scent trail would have ended there. Another theory suggested she might have fled into the woods. But the snow told a different story. There were no footprints leading into the forest. Days passed, then weeks. Helicopters scanned the forests from above. Volunteers walked miles of terrain in search grids. Many described her as under stress, but not someone who appeared suicidal. Her father later said they had been planning to shop for a new car. Over the years, several theories have emerged. One is that she succumbed to the brutal winter conditions. Temperatures that night were dangerously cold. Another theory suggests that a passing driver may have stopped and offered assistance. Someone with harmful intentions may have encountered her. A third theory suggests she intentionally disappeared, but if she truly started a new life, there has been no evidence of it for more than 2 decades. The disappearance of Maura Murray has remained one of the most widely discussed missing person cases. What happened during the few minutes between the bus driver leaving the scene and police arriving? That brief window remains hidden. Today, the stretch of road where her car was found looks much the same as it did that night in 2004, until those missing pieces are found, the events of February 9th. 2004 will remain one of the most haunting unsolved disappearances. A young woman, a crashed car, a dark mountain road, and a mystery that continues to echo through time.